administration. The historical significance of this decision has not been lost on me. Few Missouri governors have had the opportunity and responsibility to appoint an Attorney General on the behalf of the people of Missouri once, let alone twice. But before we get to the announcement, I do want to take the opportunity to thank U.S. Senator-elect Schmidt for his service in the Attorney General's office. He has fought tirelessly, defending Missourians' rights and preventing the heavy hand of the federal government from infringing on our freedoms. And we wish Eric well as he transitions to his new role, where he'll undoubtedly work to hold Washington, D.C. accountable on our behalf. As it is my duty to appoint Missouri's next top law enforcement officer for the second time, strength and stability are essential. Transitions are rarely easy, and the Missouri Attorney General's office has had its share. Stability will be critical. When considering the next AG, I look for 5 core things: commitment to law and order, patriotism and respect for the Constitution, conservative values, family values, and someone who would promote calm and steady while never afraid to fight for Missourians. We interviewed several qualified candidates who I have no doubt would serve this state well. However, it's interesting, such a monumental decision as this, one that influences the course of our state's history, can be made so easily with the right candidate. And I'm proud to announce we found just that, the right candidate. He is a proven conservative, a talented attorney, former prosecutor, a United States Army veteran, family man, and father of 4, a man of faith, and a proud Missourian. He is the right man for not just right now, but for the future of our state, who I know will not let us, the people of Missouri, down. We are beyond excited to announce Andrew Bailey will be the next Attorney General of the state of Missouri. Andrew currently serves the people of Missouri as our general counsel here in the governor's office. With Andrew's talented legal mind on our team, we've accomplished a lot for the people of Missouri. We fought for the unborn and ended elective abortions in Missouri. We've strengthened the Second Amendment protections, supported law enforcement at every turn. And Andrew was critical in helping us safeguard local control throughout the COVID-19 pandemic by preventing mask and vaccine mandates, keeping schools open, and protecting Missourians' freedom to make decisions for themselves and their families. Andrew has an unmatched work ethic, no doubt stemming from his service in the military. When our administration began, we inherited nearly 3,500 clemency applications. I went to Andrew and I said, I want to do better than that and clear this backlog. Without hesitation or intimidation for the sheer volume of applications, he said, we'll get it done. With Andrew's leadership on our legal team, we've made decisions on and closed over 2,000 clemency files, and we have the backlog, and we will have the backlog cleared by the end of our administration. This is something no governor has accomplished in decades. Additionally, with Andrew's help, we've made over 100 judicial appointments, which will have reshaped over 1/3 of our state's judiciary by the end of our administration, ensuring common sense and respect for the rule of law remain. Andrew understands the incredible responsibility and privilege it is to serve the people of Missouri, and understands the meaning of a true public servant. And while it's bittersweet to lose Andrew on our team, it gives us peace of mind to know his talents and passion for the rule of law and public service will be so well utilized at Missouri's Attorney General. Andrew's military service and prosecutor background will bring a fresh perspective to the Attorney General's office. Faith, family, freedom are ideals that Andrew lives by. The unmistakable love for his wife and the unbreakable bond he shares with his children are further proof why he is the right man for Missouri. It's personal for him and me to ensure the next generations have the same or better opportunities at the American dream than we've had. I am confident in his ability and know he will serve the people of Missouri with dignity and respect that they demand and that they deserve. We know he's the right man for the job, not just the next 2 years, but beyond. He's committed, he's proven, he's ready. Missourians are in good hands with Andrew as their Attorney General. We would not be more excited for him, his family, and the state of Missouri. I will now turn it over to the new Attorney General of the state of Missouri, Andrew Bailey. Andrew?
Thank you. Thank you. I want to thank Governor Parson, the entire team here at the governor's office. I want to thank my wife, Jessica, and our children for their support, and I couldn't do this without them. And as a person who's found faith, I want to thank God for the opportunities that he's put before me in my life. It has been the highlight of my professional career to get to work with such talented people here at the governor's office, all dedicated to moving the state forward and the public good, and specifically working for Governor Parson with his leadership, his vision, and his steady hand. I have learned many valuable lessons in both civic virtue and statesmanship from Governor Parson. It has been a remarkable time in our state's history, and it has been an honor to get to be a part of it and to have the governor put his faith and his trust in me based on my performance here on his staff. I want to introduce myself. My name is Andrew Bailey. I grew up here in mid-Missouri. I attended the University of Missouri on an Army scholarship. And although I always had other career plans, like so many patriots, my plans changed when terrorists attacked our nation on 9/11. I wanted to serve and get in the fight. I volunteered for a combat arms branch of service. I then volunteered to go to Iraq. I ended up completing 2 deployments overseas. And I did it because I have a deep sense of duty, pride in our country, and because I'm a fighter and will always stand up for freedom. When I got out of the Army, I moved back to the state I call home, the state that I love, and I eventually attended law school on the post-9/11 GI Bill. After wearing a uniform and swearing an oath to defend the Constitution, I dedicated my studies in law school and my work experience to constitutional law and criminal prosecution. After graduating, I worked at the Missouri Attorney General's office. I did special prosecution. I defended the state's convictions in state and federal court. And I litigated cases all the way up to the Missouri Supreme Court and all the way up to the 8th Circuit Court of Appeals. I committed sexually violent predators to state custody to keep our streets safer. I was motivated to defend our law enforcement officers and the people of this great state. After that, I accepted a position at the Warren County Prosecutor's Office because I wanted to become part of a community. There, I managed dockets, I tried cases, several felony jury trials, and I was also assigned as the attorney for the county juvenile office. It was in my role as the county juvenile office attorney where stories of children in need of care motivated my wife and I to become foster parents. We could not stand idly by while children in care lacked a place to call home. As an assistant prosecuting attorney, tried numerous cases and was again motivated by a desire to defend our law enforcement officers and the people of this great state. At both the Attorney General's office and the prosecutor's office, I learned the adversarial process in the courtroom, and I honed my trial and appellate skills. I enjoyed a lot of success in the courtroom, and then the Missouri Department of Corrections offered me a position as their general counsel to take lead on complex legal issues. Eventually, the governor's office invited me to join this team. This team has also enjoyed a lot of success. As the governor mentioned, we've reduced the number of abortions to a record low. We prevented a statewide COVID shutdown. We said no to vaccine mandates. And we fought back against President Biden's federal overreach. I'm proud of this record because this team also fought for freedom. I've practiced law in municipal, state, and federal court. I've had the honor of leading soldiers in combat and the privilege of serving my state and my community as an attorney. I've never taken the easy path. I'm battle-tested and I am ready for this job. I'm going to bring my leadership, my legal experience, my fighting spirit, and all of the intellectual firepower I have to bear on this mission. And I will deliver victories for the people of this state. Thank you. Thank you. It is my commitment to the people of Missouri that our office will dedicate ourselves to the task of protecting the Constitution, enforcing the laws as written, supporting the counties, defending the state, and training a new generation of public service-minded attorneys. I've spent the last several years earning the trust of the governor and his team. I will always stand up and fight for freedom. I will spend the next few years earning the trust of the people of this state and fighting for Missouri as your Attorney General. Thank you very much.
All right, what an exciting day for Andrew and his family. But I'm going to tell you the real veteran up there is his mom holding that baby this whole time. Maybe we'll shorten this thing down and give you a little break. But I also want to thank her for being here today and these kids for being here. I'm sure they're very young and maybe won't understand the historical values of what's happening today. But someday I guarantee you're going to look back at your dad and mom and understand how proud this day is for your family. So I want to congratulate them and for behaving very well too. On that. So let me go over a couple of things real quick. I know we're going to do questions. I think Kelly's already talked to you. The one thing I would tell you, I would like to keep it on the subject matter of today. Today's Andrew and his family's day. So if you have questions about his job as Attorney General, we'll be glad to take those questions today. So I would like to really keep it on that topic if you would. And just to go over a few things real quick to highlight his career, some of the things he said. Maybe just go over a few things and then me just ask a few things if you have any questions. When does anybody have any questions about his military service to this country and his loyalty to there? Does anyone have any service about his family, his faith, about being a foster parent? Anybody have any questions about his loyalty to the state, to his country? Does anybody have any questions about why he's qualified for the job? Okay, Mark?
Sure, Governor. You mentioned recently in your search for the next Attorney General that you might value someone with some gray hair. I think people in the audience took you to mean experience on the job. He's been out of law school, I think, about 10 years or so, and there might be other candidates with more experience. I don't know if he's tried a civil case. he has some criminal. This is the top consumer protection agency in the whole state. What would you say to those people in Missouri who might have questions about how his qualifications match this task?
Well, I don't think when you look at his resume, I don't think anybody's going to have any questions about his resume and how qualified he is for the job. You're probably looking at somebody that's never served in the Attorney General's office as a United States Army veteran that I know of, or hasn't for decades. You've probably never seen anybody that's been the Attorney General that's a foster parent for the first time. And you're not seeing anybody that's got a proven record of what he's done here at the governor's office. And he's been in the courtroom at the county levels, the state level, and the federal level. Not a whole lot of people's had that kind of experience to go in there. So I don't know, maybe he dyes his hair. I don't know what he does with his hair, but I'm very confident he's got the experience to do the Attorney General's office, or I wouldn't have picked him. All right, so let me go from there. Nobody has any questions on those basic things that we just talked about? We'll open it up for questions. And Andrew, you can come on up here, and we're going to answer a few. I know I'm going to be headed to St. Louis here shortly, so I'll try to stay on schedule as much as I can. So, anybody?
Mr. Bailey, your predecessor has been engaged in a lot of lawsuits, particularly against the Biden administration, some of which are not resolved. Do you plan to, number one, pursue those suits, and number two, adopt that kind of attitude toward your job that part of it is holding the Biden administration's feet to the fire?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me say this. You know, it's going to take time to look at every case that the office has in front of it, all the personnel that the office has, and where those needs are and how those cases are moving. But let me say this as well. There's a legacy of excellence that both General Hawley and General Schmidt are leaving behind that I intend to continue and carry on. We're always going to look for ways to get better. But what I do know is that when Missourians who value liberty want someone to stand in the gap against federal overreach, I'm going to be the Attorney General who does precisely that.
One of the big cases that the Attorney General's office currently handles is the Agape boarding school. What are your plans moving forward for that?
Well, let me say this as well. You know, someone who's practiced juvenile law, who was previously a foster parent, you know, I think Missouri should be the safest state in the nation for children. And so we will use every resource the office has available to pursue cases where we think children are in imminent danger or pursuant to the statute.
Here's a tough one. What's your age?
Hey, it's gray, by the way. I don't know who. We need some different lights in here, but I'm 41 years old.
Okay. And the governor sort of indicated this, but do you plan to run in 2 years?
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. I think the governor has made clear his interest is again carrying on the legacy of excellence that my predecessors leave behind, but that the office needs stability, and so I intend to provide precisely that.
Mr. Bailey, you've never held an elected office before. Are you prepared for a primary challenger?
I'm prepared for anything that comes my way. Like I said, I've never backed down from a fight. I'm battle tested, and I'm ready for this.
Let me add one thing to that, because that question is going to come up. He's going to have the full resources to govern the state of Missouri. I picked him for that job, and on the political side, I'll do everything I can to make sure of that. And back to the question, in 2 years, you're going to run. He's going to run for Attorney General in 2 years, and he's going to continue that. One of the things I really looked at the candidates was making sure they were going to stay in that position for a number of years to bring stability to that.
When you were general counsel at the governor's office, one of the big issues was the security issue with DESI's website. And I know the governor's office took a really firm stand against the Post-Dispatch in that, but ultimately the local prosecutor decided not to press charges. Do you stand by how harshly you went against the Post-Dispatch on that issue?
Well, let me say this. You know, as with any issue that comes before the governor's office, it goes through a process. That one went through a process that went beyond this office, and that issue has been resolved and put to bed. But let me say this. I believe it's section 569095 is still on the books, and that's in the revised statutes of Missouri, and it says that the unauthorized access, conversion, and theft of state data is a crime. And I would discourage anyone from violating that statute.
Hi, Mr. Bailey. You'll become soon the Chief Transparency Officer of Missouri. I wonder if you can describe your personal commitment to what the public has a right to know And would you demonstrate that today by calling on the governor's office to release any unfulfilled Sunshine Act requests into your background, your work product, your emails?
Yeah, but, I am committed to the rule of law. Always have been. And that means enforcing the laws as written, not as I would want them to be, but as the General Assembly has enacted them and the governor has signed them into law. You enforce law as written. So we will absolutely enforce the Sunshine Law as written. And I think this office has numerous open sunshine requests that are pending currently, and those are being processed. And I think, individuals who make requests to this office get a 3-day letter that clearly details and enumerates the process that this office goes to fulfill those requests. And we do that so that we're thorough, so that we're accurate, and so we get the people the information they want and that they deserve. And I think that the people out there absolutely deserve a government that is responsive and transparent, and that's what the Sunshine Law is intended to do.
Okay, we're going to have one more question. Follow-up on Kermit's question. Are you going to review the Eric Schmidt lawsuits? Are you going to reconsider, or is it a done deal that you're going to go ahead with him?
Like I said, first and foremost, I want to make clear how much respect I have for the two previous attorneys general and the work that they've done on behalf of the people of the state of Missouri, and they've been rewarded by the people of the state of Missouri with higher office. So I want to carry on that legacy of excellence, but we're going to look at everything that the office has, everything the office is doing, the resources that are available, the personnel that are available, and we're going to find ways to always be looking at ways to get better. So as I stand here in the moment, I can't commit to precise lawsuits because I need to look at those. I need to work with the staff to figure out where the lawsuits are as far as the procedural posture and which have merits and which we need to continue to pursue.
All right. Thanks everybody for being here today. Again, happy Thanksgiving. Look forward to seeing you the next time we're out here. Not too long in the future, we'll be appointing a state treasurer before long, it looks like. So we'll start working on it. Thanks again, everybody, for being here.